how we learn from people who've succeeded as to how positive thinking and being optimistic is the only way. That is the way to move. All right. So by the time we wait for a couple of more kids to join in, please put on your cameras. I can see a few of them now. Isha, thank you for showing me your face. Hi, Hia, how are you? Hi, Gopal. Nice to see you all. Okay. So we'll just wait for a few more minutes. We have about 36 participants currently. Maybe a minute more to go. All right. So the last session, in the meantime, last session for the day for this particular module. And as I was telling you all, we'll be taking live stories of famous personalities. And as always, in the end, we will have interaction and we will understand from you what is the take home that you take from this 3-day module on power of positive thinking and being optimistic. Okay. So, Mataji, are we ready to go? We're about 37 of us.
Yes, Prabhuji, I think we can start.
All right. So, as I was telling you all, we've seen various stories over the last 2 days as to how we should always be positive, think positive, and the ways that we can do that. And we've seen a couple of stories how equipoised is the key. And if you're equipoised, then you can think positive better because whether it's good or bad, it doesn't affect you. We saw the shloka yesterday from the Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna tells us whether it's summer, winter, these are seasons. They will come and they will go. All right. Similarly, in life, problems, tragedies, difficulties will come and go. We just have to stay balanced. Okay. So today we'll hear about a couple of such personalities. How they were in difficulty at various points in their life, but positive thinking, being optimistic, and having that never say die attitude helped them. Okay. So typically, what do you read on the screen? I would want someone to read it out. Can I have Hia being unmuted so that I can just have Hia read this out for me? Okay. Yes, Hia, can you read that out for me, please? Hia, can you do that, please? Okay.
Hia can unmute herself.
Yeah, here you can unmute yourself in case there's any difficulty.
Yes, how a person reacts to criticism often means the difference between success and failure.
Correct. So what this means is that many a times we are criticized, someone says something bad, and now whether we succeed or we fail depends on how we take that. All right. So it is bound to happen in life that there'll be a lot of people who will say something or the other bad about you, or they'll probably not want you to go ahead with something. They'll try to pull you down. It happens. This is the nature of this world. But how we react to that really depends on our success or failure. And the next story that we're going to take is of this famous person from Europe. He was a violinist, and he, from a very young age, always wanted to play the violin. But his name was Ole Bull, okay? And his father was a pharmacist, and he obviously wanted him to study and get into that particular similar profession and take his business ahead. But Ole was least interested. All he wanted to do is just play the violin all the time. Now, his father discouraged him, in fact, forbade him from playing it. But when he was around 14 or 15 years of age, that's when he actually defied his father. He moved out and he started to focus full time only on learning the violin. And he picked up, but he didn't find a very good teacher. So he did play the violin well, but he was not like great. However, when he was in his early 20s, he landed up organizing a big tour. All right. And in the first tour, he had this particular concert, which was at Milan. It's in Italy. All right. And he played to the best of his abilities. But the next day in the newspaper, there was criticism for him everywhere. And one particular column was exclusively criticizing his concert. All right. So now they basically called him an untrained musician. And they said, if uh, Ole is to be called a diamond, he will definitely be a rough diamond. That's what they called him. And he needs a lot of polishing. This is what they wrote in that particular column. And now, typically, Ole had two ways to react. One is he could fume, get angry, backlash. But the second way is what he took up, is he learned. He said, if someone has written something so bad, I need to understand from him. He went and he met that critique. And he asked him, can you tell me what is that were my faults? And the critique obviously was also a lot into music. So he understood. So he told him the finer points. Now, what Ole decided to do is that he learned from what mistakes were pointed out and he abandoned the rest of the tour. He went in 6 months of like lockdown. He locked himself down literally and with another teacher. And for 6 months, he trained and trained and trained and trained himself. And when finally he was ready, that's when he returned and he had this huge concert. And kids, at the age of 26 only, Ole Bull was a sensation all across Europe, only at the age of 26. So he took criticism in a very positive manner because he decided to learn something out of that criticism. He did not react, he responded to it. And his response was, okay, if there is a problem, I'll mend it, but I will not give up. So that was the positive attitude that he had. Problems are fine, no one is perfect. You want to be perfect, so you're working on yourself. Perfect. But you don't need to get under it. You need to overcome the problem. So that is what we learn from this famous person. Now, moving on ahead, have you all heard this name Michelangelo? It's a very famous sculpture. Yeah. So before Michelangelo became Michelangelo, there was another very well-known sculpture. His name was a little weird, an Italian name, so excuse my pronunciation. It was Agostino di Astino. Weird name, Agostino di Astino. So he was very famous and he could typically do great stuff out of stone and marble. So Michelangelo was much junior and he was still, like budding and learning. So this Astino was working on one particular piece for a very long time, chiseling, but he couldn't really make something out of it. And he was actually dejected. So it came out that, he's dejected and he's lamenting that he can't do anything about this particular stone. Something had to be done. So that's when Michelangelo took up that possibility and he said, I can and I will try my best. And that's when Michelangelo landed up making something which made him really, really famous. That is a sculpture known as David. It's a very popular one. What you see on the left of your screen, kids, is a very, very popular sculpture. And in European art and sculpture, this is one of the most famous things by Michelangelo. So the only thought that kept him on was that I can and I will. So I can make it happen is something that he had in him. That positive attitude made him excel and rise above someone who was very famous, very good at that point of time. He outbid him. Yeah. Another such example I'll give you is of Christopher Columbus. You all may have heard this name. Yeah. So he was from Spain, and he. So the Queen of Spain, her name was Isabel. So they all always want to do more of trade, and so they were trying to find the best route to West Indies, and they had a route, but it was not the shortest route. It was pretty long a route, and that's when Christopher, he said that, Queen, give me a chance. I will want to find the quickest route to Spain. And the other people who were much more senior to him, they concluded that Christopher's plans were quite useless, and it's just not possible to get another shorter route to West Indies. They just downright rejected the idea. But luckily, the Queen, Isabel, was very supportive, and she said, yes, go ahead. And then she made him go. And so he made 4 such trips, right? If you see on the screen, you'll see the 4 trips that he made over the period of 10, 12 years, and how first it was a longer route, and then it became slightly shorter. Can you see that, kids, on the right hand side of the screen? Then finally, on the 4th trip, which was after 10 years, is when Christopher Columbus discovered the shortest route for trade. So again, he had that, and imagine 10 years, 10 years, complete focus on one thing. It's not simple, right? Imagine if I tell you, whichever class you are in, for 10 years, you're going to be in that class only, and you have to master those subjects only. Will you not get like, oh my God, how can I do that? Will that reaction come or no? Navneet is nodding his head. Yes, so I can see that. Yeah. Isha, what do you think? Yeah. Okay. Purvi, Manvi, sorry. What do you think? 10 years, can you be in one class? No, na? Yeah. So imagine Christopher Columbus had to focus on one thing only for 10 years, but he had that positive attitude that I can and I will. So ultimately, he did manage to do that. So this thing that I can is very important. Kids, typically, most of us, we land up not having a positive attitude or not being optimistic is because we are scared of. What are we scared of? In your chat boxes, come on, what are we scared of typically? What makes us think negative? Let me hear. In the chat boxes, what makes us feel negative or think negative? What is that one thing that makes us, not be optimistic, sometimes feel a little low, not, what is that? One thing. Come on, y'all can message me. Mind, bad mind. Okay. Fear, nervousness. Okay. Mistakes. Okay. Bhanupriya says mistakes. Avni says will fail again and again. Okay. Discouragement. Okay. That's another one. Okay. But I read someone said one perfect word. I'm just trying to find who was that. Who said that perfect word? 1 minute. Who was it? Swaraj used the right word, failure. So the fear of failure is the root cause of us not being positive or not being optimistic. But, failure is something that is there. It's a part of life. It is not something to be fearful of. It is something to tide over. And we will see that in a couple of stories of how people who have failed miserably in their life did not give up. All right. They were not afraid of failing. And that is the reason they landed up being who they are. So who you see on your screens, kids, is John Cleese. All right. A very famous English novelist. All right. But you know what? I've written right there. He got rejected how many times? 753 times. Wow. Can you imagine being rejected 753 times and still having the courage to keep writing, keep going back to the publisher. Are bhaiya, meri novel hai, chapo. Are meri novel hai, please print it. Can you imagine that? But this man showed that how failure should not put you down. And he continued and he persisted. And what was the result? What was the result? He landed up publishing how many books? 654 books ultimately. After being rejected, then throughout his life, he landed up publishing 654 books. So failure did put this man down. He tided over that. He moved over that. All right. So that's a beautiful, beautiful lesson that we have. And he's not the only one. There are many more such people. I'll tell you a few more. The next one is R.H. Macy. Okay. Now, whoever has traveled to the US out of y'all will know Macy's as a chain of store. Okay. If I were to give you an example, okay, say what Shopper Stop or Big Bazaar is to India. Okay. Shopper Stop, Big Bazaar is to India. Macy's is 50 times larger than that in the US. Okay. Today, Macy's is 50 times, at least, I'm just giving an approximate figure, 50 times larger than that in the US. They have so many stores. But this man, R.H. Macy's, failed 7 times. He landed up having 7 stores, shut her down. Second store, shut her down. Third store, shut her down. Fourth store, shut her down. But he wasn't boggled. He did not take that as failure. He took that as learning. And every time he failed, he learned something new or the other. And because he learned something new or the other, that's the reason on his 8th attempt, when he finally did his 8th attempt, it caught on like wildfire, and then there was no looking back. Now, today, Macy's is worth billions of dollars. And that's only because of his positive attitude and being optimistic and never saying die. Okay. Now we're going on to another wonderful life story of this gentleman who you see on your screen. His name is Isaac Perlman. All right. Now, this gentleman from childhood, he had polio, and because of polio, his legs were damaged. But again, he played the violin, and his legs were damaged. That didn't deter him. He learned it, and he went on to become a famous violinist. Okay, but because of the crutches that he had on his feet, he was always in pain, and whenever he would have a concert, I'll describe to you how it would be. So there's a stage, and he's the sole performer. His chair would be kept in the center of the stage, and he would have to walk up to the chair, take his seat, put his violin in the right position, and then start the program, the concert. So he was quite used to doing that, but typically he would take a lot of time to use those crutches and walk to the center of the stage. Then he would sit down, he would remove those crutches, put it to a side, then pick up his violin. And then he would start to play. Now, this entire process would take that 15-20 minutes, and the audience is generally accustomed. Okay, bhai, itna time lagne wala hai, that's fine. So, one such day in 1995, he had this huge concert, and the audience was used to this ritual. He'll take so much time, and then he'll play it, and it'll take that much time. So he came, he sat, and he just about started to play it. Now, when he started to play that day, he was just getting into the mood of playing. And typically the violin has 4 strings. Suddenly one of the strings snapped. It broke. And there was this loud, like gunshot, like, sound which came in the entire auditorium. Because obviously the microphone was close to his violin, and this huge gun-like sound came, and everyone was like, oh my God, now what will happen? But this gentleman, he knew the entire concert will go for a toss, because if he were to put on his crutches again, go get another violin or get that fixed and come, that whole momentum will break. This gentleman landed up doing something which is unheard of. He made music on the spot using just those three strings of the violin. Can you imagine? Just using those three strings, he just kept playing and playing and playing and playing. And that concert went on for whatever stipulated time. When his performance was over, that time there was pin drop silence. And finally, when he put his violin down, the entire stadium, the entire auditorium stood up and gave him a standing ovation. So, despite his disability, despite the problem that he was in, imagine what kind of positive attitude that he had to go on and play something like that. Yes? Now, before we get on to the next story, let's chat up a bit. All right? So tell me, how many of y'all have had some experience like this, where you've had some difficulty and you have managed to actually overcome that difficulty? Okay, if anyone has such an experience where you've had this difficulty and you've managed to overcome that, I would love to hear. In fact, all of us would love to hear, because it'll be very inspiring. So if anyone is here who has had such an experience, please put up your hand and we'll have you chat up. Speak up, actually. Radhe says, Radhe has one. Okay. And Rashika Pandey has raised her hand. So, and Viplap. Okay, so Rashika first, and then Viplap, and then Radhe. All right, I'm going to unmute you all. 1 minute. Mataji, can you help me? Rashika first, then Viplap, and then Radhe. We'll just unmute them and have them speak. First, Rashika, 1 minute. Yes, Rashika, you can unmute.
So, uh, I was in school and there was a performance, and I was chosen for reading a passage from a book.
Passage, okay.
And I had to make a chart representing it. So when I made the chart, I came to school the day when I have to read the passage on this stage. But there was a problem that the book was not. We cannot find the book where it was.
You couldn't find the book only. Oh my God. Okay.
So I said that I know what I have to speak and I can speak without book.
Wow.
So I have read it so many times that I had
registered it in your mind.
Yes. And,
okay.
And then there was no mistake, and I spoke out all full paragraph.
Beautiful. Lovely. That's amazing. See, very nice. Very good experience. Very nice. Viplap. Okay. Can we unmute him so that we can hear his story too? Mataji, can you find Viplap so that we can hear him?
I'm just searching him.
Here, I found Viplap. Viplap, I can't see you. If your camera, I'm asking you to unmute. If you put on your camera, I can only see VIP on your screen. So if you can put on your camera, it's better to see you with that.
Ask him to unmute.
So he just sent me a message. There was one concert. In it, I had made a speech. That's what he's written. Okay, fair enough. Next, then we'll go to someone else who would want to speak. That was Radhe. Radhe wanted to say something. And also Samvita wants to say something. Okay, so Samvita, here you can unmute yourself.
One time, because we have a center, we thought it was time too late and there were people in the center. We got there, we didn't see anyone.
Okay. Once again, I didn't hear you. Clearly. Once again.
So one time we have a center, we were going to the center, we were all rushing, we thought that someone was waiting at the door, but when we got there, we saw no one was there.
No one was there. Oh, okay. And then what did you do?
We were like, phew, nobody's here.
And then finally, what happened that day? Okay, Radhe, let's hear you. And then Sumit also wants to say something. I'm unmuting you also, Sumit.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely. Please go ahead, dear.
Prabhuji, I have a experience of my science exhibition.
Right.
I was in my village. And our school group, it's of the law, and my school group was in my mother's mobile and with my uncle.
Right.
I was in my uncle's village, and my mother's was in father's village. So I was staying in uncle's village, and I was not noticed about the science exhibition, and my mother only told me that there's a there's not science exhibition. She only told that you have a 2 days holiday. I don't know that it was for the science exhibition, and our train was on the second day. And
Okay.
when I reached home after that, on the next day only, it was science exhibition, and I was having only up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I managed to prepare a chart without going to the without going to shop, get a cardboard, and with a paper I stick on a cardboard which was
So
at
last
our
minute you
home,
managed
and
to
I
put
made
everything together.
Yeah, because I was not noticed about the science and I was only having 12 hours, and I managed to get all the speech in 12 hours, and I got the first prize in science exhibition.
Awesome. Very well done. That's very nice. That's very nice and positive to hear that. Good. Madhvi, let's hear your story. Yes, Madhvi.
Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, dear. Please go ahead.
When I was in kindergarten, there was a concert. I needed to stand in front. So it was a video recording. So I was afraid, but I still did it with a smile.
Oh, you overcome that's overcoming your fear, whether it's stage fear or whatever. Wonderful.
And
Wonderful. Yes, Radhe.
after that,
Very well done. Yes, Radhe. Let's hear your story.
Prabhuji, after that, our teachers decided who in the whole school who won, and I was the first place.
You won in that performance. Very good. So overcoming your stage fear and you won. Wonderful. Nice. Yes, Radhe, what do you have to share?
Yes, I want to tell that I went to a temple one day. It was like me and my friends had to recite shlokas in the temple. So I learned my shlokas, and then we went to the temple. And then my friends all said the shlokas very accurately. No one very fluently. No one forgot or missed any shloka. So after that, it was my turn. And then
I was saying, and then I accidentally I missed one shloka, and then
Okay.
all the audience was staring me like their expression very clearly said that hey, you missed this shloka. So
Ah,
then I couldn't stop and tell sorry and then tell the missed shloka. So I just kept on telling the other ones, and then when I forgot one more time. I missed one more shloka. And then
okay.
I again kept on saying the other ones. I ignored that Miss Shloka. And after that, like whoever was present in that temple gave me the greatest cheer for just finishing the shloka.
Superb. So even though we make mistakes, we have to go on. Absolutely. Mistakes is normal. It's nothing to worry. Very well done, Radhe. Very well done. Great. Okay. Now,
Navneet,
next story is of Chinmay. She has to share something. She's raised her hand. Yes, Chinmay Tiwari. Let's hear from you.
Okay, so my story is that
We can't hear you clearly. Can you be a little loud? Can't hear you.
hello, am I audible?
Now you're audible. Yeah.
Okay, so one time I went to the temple and it was my Sunday class. In my Sunday class, it was my performance and I became Sita and I had to play the role. So when I went to the stage, I don't know how I forgot my speech. Then I just thought. When I remember, I still couldn't speak because of fear. And then everyone was looking at me. Then somehow I managed to speak.
And you managed that. So even you overcame the fear.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. So we have one more week go ahead with, and then we'll move on with the stories, but we'll have more interaction very soon. Okay. Purvi and Manvi, you all want to say something? Well, I've raised your hand. 1 minute. And kids, please put on your camera. If I see your cameras, no, then I can better interact and I can give you a chance. Yes. So please, if you don't have bandwidth issues, put on your camera so I should be able to see you. Yes.
I want Madhvi to unmute yourself.
Can't hear you clearly, dear. Purvi, Manvi, you want to say something?
Madhvi is nodding her head.
Prabhuji, I already said something.
Yeah, I can't really hear that. Anyway, I think we'll move ahead and then we'll get on after a story or two. We'll get on to Purvi saying she can't unmute. Oh my God, I've unmuted her. 1 minute. Last try. Here.
I have also unmuted her, Prabhu.
Yeah. Yeah, Purvi, now you can speak.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can speak.
Yes, go ahead.
One day in temple, in Sunday school, there was annual day. So
Mhm.
a dance, like it was a group dance. We did a dance on nursing Aarti. Then in middle we were dancing, but in middle we forgot one means we were stuck. We cannot remember what was the step. Like we were standing blank, and then all
Okay.
seeing us. Like I was scared. Then what will happen now? Then the our Sunday school teacher was showing us, dude. She was showing the step, but I cannot recollect it with which step she's showing. Then
Right.
I was telling like I was dependent on Lord, what Lord wish, then we will do. Then that time only I remember the step, and then we started a dance, and dance it was very nice.
Went on well.
Yes.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Very nice. Very nice to hear you all. Thank you so much, kids, for sharing these wonderful incidents of your life. And hearing it must have been quite inspiring for the others also. Yeah. So let's move on with a story or two more, and then we'll have some more interaction. So we come to this story of this gentleman, Perry Renor, his name was. Now, this gentleman was one of the most famous painters in Europe. Now, again, he painted throughout his life, but unfortunately, towards the end, the latter part of his life, he was paralyzed by arthritis. Now, because of that, it's extremely painful where your joints, everything is paining, it's really paining. And as a painter, you have to sit in a position for a long time. You have to hold the brush up for a long time, and you have to use your fingers in such a way. So this entire process was very, 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 very painful. But he continued to do that. And others who were around him asked him that, why are you doing this? It is so painful. Why don't you just give it up? You've already done so many nice paintings. You already are famous. Then why do you continue to torture yourself? That's what others would tell him. And this man made this wonderful statement. He said, beauty remains, the pain passes. So that means that what I'm doing, undergoing pain, but the beauty will remain. And you will not believe, kids, he was ill with this disease for 14 long years, right? He continued to paint throughout. And in fact, one of his most famous paintings, called The Bathers, was done just 1 year or 2 years before he finally passed away. So that means for those 12, 14 years, he continued to do that. And not only that, in that time, in all the pain, he landed up with a masterpiece. Yes. So this is another very inspiring story that I thought. But if you look within the Indian context also, how many of you all have heard of Amitabh Bachchan? A lot of you all, I see a lot of hands up. Yeah. Okay. Now, do you all know Amitabh Bachchan, the famous Amitabh Bachchan, and how famous and how nice his voice is, right? He has this empowering voice with which he gives all these wonderful dialogues, which are like really famous. He was rejected by All India Radio, but he did not get boggled down. Not only that, he had to undergo at least 6 to 8 years of, you could say, doing like small roles till he finally got his first hit. So he was not boggled down by the All India Radio rejection. He was not boggled down by the smaller roles that he got till he finally hit, he got his first hit film. So that's one more example that just came to my mind. I haven't put it in the PPT, but that just came to my mind. So I thought I'll share with you that, this is what typically positive thinking can do. Okay. Now, what all of us have problems in our life. Do you all accept it or no? Yes or no? Quickly in your chat boxes, yes or no? Mataji, if you can open the chat now, it'll be great. Just open the chat so we can have last 15 minutes, we can have some interaction. So Rashita says yes, Chinmay says yes, Radhe says yes, Shreya says yes, yes, and Naman, and all the answers are flowing in. Yes, so typically we have problems, right? Now, when we have problems, do you all worry about it or you don't worry about it? Again, yes or no, reply. Do you worry about a problem or you don't worry about a problem? Purvi says, yes, she worries. Chinmay says she doesn't worry. Okay. Radhe says she worries. Naman says he doesn't worry. Riyan says, I worry about the problem. Okay. Who else? Ravan says he worries. Navneet says, I worry. Hiya says she worries. Okay. So most of us land up worrying about a problem, right? Now, what happens when we worry about a problem? Is worrying a solution? Do you think worrying is a solution? No, no. So those answers are coming in. No, Avnish is saying no, Naman is saying no, right? Worrying is not a solution. So next slide is what I'm going to share with you, is a very interesting slide. Okay. Now see this carefully and then see the cursor. Can you see the cursor that I'm moving? Can you see it? Yes. So the first question is, do you have a problem in life? Most of us have said yes. Okay. So let's go to No, first let's see the no part. If we don't have a problem in life, then why should we worry? Okay. Do you have a problem in your life? If your answer is no, then we go to the big ball, which is mentions, then why worry? Okay. Now let's come to the second part where most of us have said, yes, we have a problem in life. Now, in this situation, we should ask ourselves one question. Can we do something about it? Can we do something about it? If the answer is yes, that we can do something about the problem, then we shouldn't worry. And if we cannot do something about it, then also we shouldn't worry. All right? So look at it like this. If I have a problem in my life, I ask myself, and if my answer is yes, yeah, I have a problem. Oh my God, what should I do? Then I should ask myself, can I do something about it? Okay, for example, I have a problem. My exams are coming and I haven't studied. I'm scared, I'm nervous. That's my problem. Okay, what can I do about it? I can study. I can make a chart, I can make a plan, and I can study. Okay, so I have a solution to it. But then there are some problems which I don't have a solution to. For example, there's a lockdown. I can't go out of my house. Can I do something about it? It's not, is it in our hands? No, the government makes the rules. We have to abide by the rules. So I can't do anything about it, right? So if I can't do anything about it, then why should I worry? Okay. So if you keep this in your mind, if you have a problem, you still have no reason to worry, because if you can do something about it, please do. And if you cannot do something about it, still, then you don't need to worry at all. Okay. So please remember this. If you have a problem, think of a solution. If you cannot find a solution, or it's beyond you, don't worry about it. Some things we have to leave to God. He'll manage it because it's beyond us. Right? Okay, now I have something in the chat box. One minute, let me read that before I go on. Naman says, do not be too skeptical, but don't have blind faith. Now, Naman, I would want you to be unmuted and I would want to hear, what are you saying? What are you trying to say about this? Naman, can we unmute Naman, please?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, and Sumit after that, because he wants to share a short story on his failure. Beautiful, we'll learn from it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Naman, and after Naman, it's Sumit. Yes, Naman, go ahead. What exactly do you mean by this?
This statement that I put in the chat box, do not be too skeptical, but don't have blind faith. That is, I heard this from Avatar Leela Prabhuji in one of his lectures. So,
Yeah.
where during the Damodar Leela, when it became a festival of rope. So, everyone was bringing in rope, but nobody was analyzing. That's why this is not happening. We are putting so much rope, but it is not becoming longer only. Everyone was enjoying. Just like that, we should don't overanalyze, but we should not have blind faith.
Okay, that means, yeah, okay, fine. Over-analysis, no, you need some action. You don't need inaction. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, don't overanalyze. If you can analyze, don't overanalyze anything.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's have the story that Sumit wanted to share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm audible. Prabhuji, I wanted a story that I heard. That's the story of Summer edition.
Is it your story or is it a story that you heard, Sumit?
That's the story that I heard.
Okay, your voice is cracking, so just, yeah, go ahead.
On December 9, it's an incident in West Orange, December, and
We can't hear you.
Thomas Alva Edition.
Can others hear, Sumit? No, I see Isha's also nodding her head. Sumit, we can't hear you. There's some internet connection issue. Can you put it in place and then we can come back to you? Yeah, and we have someone who said, I cry when there's a problem. Who's that? Samvita. Samvita said, I sometimes cry when there is a problem. So Samvita, I would want to ask you, after you cry, do you get a solution? Does crying give you a solution? No, it doesn't. So if crying gives a solution, chalo, even we all will start crying, but it doesn't help. All right. So crying, in fact, weakens us. So when you have a problem, next time tell yourself, I'm not going to cry, because crying is not going to give me a solution. If crying was a solution, we can cry, no problem. But crying doesn't give you a solution. Instead, you should ask yourself this question: what can I do in this situation? And as you see in the slide on the screen, if you can do something about it, then do that. But if you cannot do something about it, means it's beyond you. Like I gave you the example of this lockdown, it's beyond us. We can't do anything about it, right? Then why worry? You just have to go with the flow. It's there, it's there. Okay? So I hope and I pray, firstly, a problem doesn't come. And if it comes, then you don't cry. Okay? Yes, Sumit, is your connection better? I'll give you one more try, dear.
You're telling me to unmute.
No, Sumit was wanting to share that story, but we couldn't hear him. No, I think he still has a problem. Madhvi wants to share something. Yes, Madhvi, what do you want to say? Madhvi?
Madhvi can unmute. Yes.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm audible.
Yes, Madhvi?
I'm in grade 1. I'm in grade 1. So I always have English tests. So they're like, there was and those things thought. And I work my best, but I still think I will have corrections. I've done 3 English spellings, all of them. I got 10 out of 10.
Okay, so basically you worked upon it, right? And that's how you got it.
Then I did not worry.
Yes, so that's what I am put on the screen right in front of you. Positive attitude. What exactly we mean by that? You know, when things come to an end, it's not actually the end. END is what you see on the screen. Efforts never die. All right. So we have to put in our efforts many a times, as you've seen from some of these stories of people, how they kept putting in effort despite their failure, because they did not believe in the word impossible. They said it's possible. And similarly, they did not tell themselves, I can't do it. They told themselves, I can do it. So if you know inside you, you're feeling that no, I can't, always remember that no coming from within is your next opportunity. You'll always get another opportunity. So if we failed once, maybe in our exam, maybe in some stage performance, maybe in anything that we always wanted to do, we didn't get selected for a particular cricket team or anything on those lines. We just need to keep that positivity in our minds, that our efforts never die, and we take the next opportunity and win over. Like I told you, Macy's, 7 of his stores failed. 7 times he failed, right? That English novelist, he was rejected over 700 times. You know, the superstar from India, Amitabh Bachchan, was rejected. You know, so many people who've succeeded in life haven't had it simple. They've had dejection, they've had failure, but what has kept them going is their optimism and positive attitude. So if that is something, kids, that we keep with us and always keep at the back of our mind, we will ensure that we succeed in life in whatever we decide to do. Okay, so we've reached finally the end of our 3-day session, and I hope you kids have enjoyed it. And I would love a quick feedback on the chat box, and then we will have some more short stories to share. And remember, we have these on a monthly basis so that we can try and whatever little we've gathered in all these years of our life, we can share with you, so that you kids who are so young can pick up these beautiful attributes early in life and imbibe them in your life, in your personality, so that you grow out to be stronger and positive. Okay, quickly, you all can give in your feedback on the chat boxes and let us know how you like the session. And then we'll also have some more people. Now, you all can put your hands down, whoever had raised their hands, so I can have some fresh new people talk. And I will only give a chance to people who I see. If I don't see you, I cannot talk to you because I don't know whom I'm talking to, right? So let me hear some more people and you all can keep giving in your feedback. Purnendu just joined. Oh my God, Purnendu, you'll have to see the recording of this session. We'll post the recording, even yesterday's session, even today's. Okay? Thank you, Navan. Thank you, Hia. Thank you for liking it. Yes, Rakshita, thank you. And now let's see who will talk. Srirang wanted to say something. We'll have Srirang being unmuted. Srirang, I can see you. So I'll give you a chance.
Prabhuji, I wanted to share my experience.
Please, Srirang, go ahead.
Prabhuji, it's not basically about me, but my parents.
Yeah.
And what happened is when I was small, about 2-3 years old, then I had some problem of that whatever I ate, I used to vomit it out.
Oh,
So
okay.
there was some problem and no medicine could work on me. So it was something like no doctor can do it. Like we were helpless. My parents were helpless. So my father requested a brahmachari to do nursing yagya, and on that day nursing yagya happened. That from that night I was feeling better and better, and I got healthy.
Wow, awesome. So Bolo Shri Narsingh Dev ki jai. Awesome. Really nice. Really, really nice. And I don't know whether you're reciting the Narsing Stotra every morning. There is this wonderful Stotra of Narsingh Dev.
I recite nursing Aarti.
You do that? And there is also this Stotra which goes Ugram Viram. Do you know that Stotra?
Yes, Prabhuji, I know it.
So for the benefit of all the other kids, can you recite it and listen, kids? Hear this very carefully. And if you can, every morning, please recite this Ugram Viram Stotra that he'll be sharing 11 times. Okay? Now, come on, please recite it for us, dear. And it's a wonderful thing that you've shared. And the power of Narsingh Dev's, he can do anything. So, yeah, go ahead, dear. Please, let's hear it. Go ahead. You wanted to share the stotra, right? Okay. I don't know where he's disappeared. Anyway, it goes like this. Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narsiham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Mrityum Nama Aham. So if you all can please see this on YouTube also and try to learn this. It's very simple. It's 4 lines. And if you all can learn it and say it, it will really, really be good. Okay? Sorry, was someone trying to recite it? I just heard that echo.
It was me, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Okay, anyone else wants to say anything? Before we end this session, we just have like 2-3 minutes to go. Krishangi has her hands up and her camera on, so she will get a chance to speak. Yes, Krishangi.
Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Krishangi, please go ahead.
I want to share a few.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Once, it was my running race
Okay.
of 100 meter.
Okay.
Actually, what happened that time, I was having a fever.
Oh, okay.
So actually, I was also selected in the finals.